All right, we are back with another Pick'em video. It is Friday, January 24th, and we only have 3 games to talk about. So there's some value out there, nothing too crazy to be totally honest. Going to be playing lighter today, but I have some spots that I'm liking that I'm going to point to you guys out, and then break them down like I always do, and then we'll be on our way. Probably a shorter video today. But yeah, let's get into things. If you're new around here, definitely go ahead and subscribe. Leave the video a like, comment something down below. It does tell YouTube to push this video out when you do that, so I appreciate that. And we're going to go over a recap from yesterday's video. We did pretty good. And then we're going to go over the back-to-back news, injury news like we always do, and then we'll hop into the plays. Let's do it. All right, so quickly jumping into the recap of yesterday's picks. We talked about a bunch of them, and we had more cashes than losses. That's what we're always going for here. We also have like a push one that I'll talk about in a second here. But starting right at the top, Onyeka Okongwu over 13.5 points. He ended with 19, I believe. That was a no-sweat bet. He looked good all throughout, and with Clint Capella eventually getting ruled out, we did say, hey, back-to-back, Capella might get less minutes. He ended up not playing, so good read there, and easy cash for us. Then we had Malik Monk and Sabonis. We kind of talk about these guys together because it was kind of correlated. Malik Monk and Sabonis are one of the best 1-2 combos in the league. I think they're ranked third in most assists, Monk to Sabonis, and he did cash. He looked really good at the beginning of the game. 2 assists to Sabonis, which was great, and then I think he had 3 in the first quarter, then slowed down a lot, and then ended up getting 7 assists. So even if that bumped up to 6.5, hopefully you guys cashed on that. Sabonis crushed his 18.5 point line. I guess not crushed. He had 23, but that one also looked good throughout the whole game. Wemby over 27.5 points. I just said Wemby over his points. He's playing in France. He wasn't scoring a whole bunch recently, but this was a home crowd team for him, and they were chanting MVP. He looked good right off the bat. I did eventually see his first quarter points. I didn't talk about it in the video because I saw it later on. I thought of it later on, and he came out hot. He shot a whole bunch of shots, knocked down threes. He looked awesome, and he had 30 points, so he went over his points line. Nikola Jokic triple-double plus money play. That one just continues to cash. He almost had I don't even know what you would call a 20-20-20 game, but he had like 35, what do you have, 35, 22, and 17. So yeah, that was an easy triple-double. 5th straight game he's had a triple-double through the first 3 quarters, so I will take plus money on that any day of the week. But again, we broke down the matchup against the Kings, and he triple-doubled earlier this season against them. So good read there, obviously. Miles Turner, we had him at 14-plus points. I actually had him at 14 on the dot for a Dabble slip. I know this eventually got bumped up to 14.5. I know people that got it at 13.5. I'm calling this just a push. It wasn't a loss. It wasn't a win. So it was a good read, I think. He shot 1 of 7 from the first in the first half against Wemby. Got blocked at the rim twice in that first half against Wemby, and then turned it up in the second half to get 14 points. But he had a horrible start to that game. RJ Barrett over 11.0 rebounds and assists. He didn't get there either. It was a close game between them and the Atlanta Hawks. Just couldn't get there for us. 9 assists. It was Kelly Olynyk, Bruce Brown, and Davion Mitchell taking all the assists from these guys, and that goes hand in hand with Scotty Barnes. That was a plus money play, the 6.5 assists. He didn't get there either. I think he ended with 3. So our Raptors didn't come through for us, but everyone else looked pretty good, and we'll definitely take more checks than Red X's any day of the week. All right, so going on to the lineup news for tomorrow. Not very long one, but the only team on a back-to-back will be the Portland Trailblazers, who definitely had some game time decisions for today's game. Some guys that played, some guys that didn't play. Ayton didn't play. So keep an eye on the injury report for the Portland Trailblazers. Then we got the first game here, the Cavs and the Sixers. Karis LeVert, game time decision. Mobley and Okoro still out for the Cavs. 76ers, no Embiid, no Drummond, no Lowry, neither of the Martins. So we've seen this before. Should be the Tyrese Maxey show in terms of scoring, but again, difficult defense here. We might talk about an under for Maxey, but not in terms of scoring. I'll let we'll get into that in a little bit. Trailblazers Hornets, again, we just talked about the Trailblazers being on a back-to-back. I'd keep an eye on Ayton. I keep an eye on Simons. I keep an eye on the entire team. These guys like to sit players, especially in a back-to-back situation, so just keep that in mind. For the Hornets, game time decisions for LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges, so that is definitely something to keep an eye on. Nick Smith Jr., if both these guys are ruled out, Nick Smith Jr. will be the guy that I'm looking at. Hopefully his lines don't get super inflated, but to be totally honest, I expect both these guys to play, but just, again, got to keep out for them. Then Seth Curry as a probable tag. Cody, Caleb Martin, which Martin is this? Cody Martin, probable. And then Trey Mann out for them. Pelicans and Grizzlies. Pelicans got Zion Williamson will be out. DeJounte Murray, probable. Yves Missi, probable. Brandon Ingram, Herb Jones out. We've seen this movie before. Should be the CJ McCollum, Trey Murphy, DeJounte show for the Pelicans. And then for the Grizzlies side of things, Santi Aldama will be a game time decision with a bunch of these other guys who have been out for a long time will be out as well. So game time decision for Santi Aldama. Kind of some news there, but mostly healthy for the Grizz. All right, so moving into the first play of the video, it's going to be Ja Morant over 22.5 points. I'm just going to his points line here, and he's got a great matchup. So you can see the hit rate for the year is not going to look good pretty much any way I put this. 42% for the year. He's gone under in 3 straight games. This is a home game where it looks like other guys step up. He's only over in 33% of those. This is also a 12-point spread. That doesn't look awesome. 18% of games he's gone over that. But with all that said, I do love this matchup for him. A point guard to the point guard position, 29th in terms of points allowed for the Pelicans. And if you break down how Ja gets his points, you can see the Pelicans are ranked 29th defensively in the restricted area. 43% of his shots come through restricted area. They're ranked 26th in terms of transition defense. He gets 28%. That's the most allocation for him. That's 28% of his points come from transition. And this is just a really good matchup for him. And again, with all the hit rate charts not looking amazing, he still has gone over in not only the four straight games against them, but 2 this year in only 28 in 25 minutes. He had 27 and 25 points. Those are both this year. So I do love this matchup for him. I looked a little bit farther in this as well, and it's got kind of crazy. The past 3 games they've played, that's without these guys in the lineup, Zion in the lineup. We've seen the Jazz guards all go over their points line. That includes Isaiah Collier. That includes Colin Sexton, Keontae George, all cleared their lines. Colin Sexton didn't play the other game they played recently, but Collier and Sexton went over their lines again. The Mavericks guards, that doesn't include Kyrie. That's Dinwiddie and Jaden Hardy. They crushed their lines. And the Bulls, and again, that's Lonzo Ball and Kobe White. They killed their lines. So I think if Isaiah Collier, Jaden Hardy, Lonzo Ball can go over their lines, I think Ja can do it again for the 3rd time this season. The hit rate chart doesn't look good, but again, 22.5 points for a guy like this in a really good matchup. I think Ja gets there. And then while we're talking about guards kind of having their way with this defense recently, you got to mention Desmond Bane because he's definitely been the much more consistent player as of late. Wasn't consistent to start the year, but he's been very dialed in. I mean, look at 22, 21, 23, 24, 31. He's been really, really consistent. The only thing I don't like about this is it's kind of the same thing. Guards look really good. His allocation of points and how he scores looks pretty good again in this matchup. He just wasn't scoring at the beginning of the year, and that's kind of when these 2 matchups came about. He only had 7 points and 18 points. These weren't huge blowouts either. This was an 11-point game. This was an 8-point game. He played 25 and 32 minutes. Just didn't really get the shots up. But this is definitely a decent look here at 19.5 points for Desmond Bane. Maybe more of a lean. I don't know why I'm leaning Ja. I just really love his matchup, and he's shown that he can play against this team. It goes hand in hand. Both guards looking pretty good against the Pelicans here. Hopefully it's not like a 30-point blowout because that would ruin both these plays probably. But again, this is the 3-game slate, and this is what we're dealing with. And then moving to the other side of the court here, it is going to be CJ McCollum. This is probably my favorite play. I should have probably started with this one. Over 23.5 points. Again, this is another play in this game along with Ja. Bane was more of a lean, but it's tough because if this is a blowout, and again, there's only 3 games to choose from, then that ruins both these plays. But if it's close, hopefully that means good things for both these plays. But I'm liking his over 23.5 points, 42% hit rate for the season. But you see these monster games he's had recently, and we get no Zion once again. So without Zion, this hit rate does go up a little bit to 46% of games. And then the last 10 games, it looks a whole lot better, 60% of games, including a 50-piece, a 38-piece, and a 45-piece in the last matchup here. Now, he's played Memphis twice, and he's played them twice without Zion. He had 30 in both those games, 30 and 32. Played a decent amount of minutes. Again, wasn't blowouts. They lost both these games, but they weren't blowouts. So hopefully they can keep it close, and CJ can kind of keep cooking here. Now, I looked a little bit farther, and one of these stats is crazy. The defense is great for a guy like CJ to kind of cook. 41% of his shots come from above the break threes. Memphis ranks 25th defensively in above the break threes. We'll touch on that in a second here. But also 41% of his points come as the pick and roll ball handler and in transition. Pick and roll ball handling defense, they're ranked 23rd. Transition defense, they're ranked 27th. So CJ, definitely in a good spot to cook. That's why he's cooked the past 2 games against this team. Now, in games without Zion, this is kind of filter crazy, but games without Zion, and teams that are in the bottom third defensively and defending above the break threes, Memphis is ranked 25th, as I mentioned. He's cleared this line in 5 straight games, averaging 37.6 points in those games. So those are the games he's dominating, games that he can get some threes up. But even if he's not knocking down the threes, he's opening up the field a little bit for him, or the floor a little bit for him. And 37.6 points per game in those types of games, and we got one of these games up again for us. So CJ over 23.5 points, probably my favorite play that I've seen so far today. And now that we're already so deep into this game, I might as well mention Trey Murphy. If this game is going to stay close, that's how all these plays would end up hitting. If it's a blowout, throw these all out the window. But Trey Murphy over 28.5. I like the combo of points and rebounds. I wouldn't go to his points, so I wouldn't go to his rebounds. I think I like the combo of his points and rebounds. He was able to do that in both matchups so far this year. He went for 30 and 38 points and rebounds. We did have a great game against this team, and he's also been playing really, really well. You take Zion out of the equation. I haven't done that yet, so I assume his charts look even a little bit better. Pretty much the same, but yeah, he's been cooking alongside CJ. DeJounte's kind of taken the step back from the scoring department, and it's kind of been Trey and CJ. So again, if this one's going to stay close, I lean Trey Murphy, I lean Desmond Bane, and my two favorite plays probably in this game are going to be CJ scoring and Ja scoring. And I still have one more play that's not in the Pelicans and Grizzlies game, and I'm really, really liking it actually. But I want to take a second here and remind everyone, if you made it this far, leave the video a like, comment something down below. It does tell YouTube to push this video out more when you do that. So I do appreciate everyone that does that, and I love reading the comments. I usually respond to most all of them as well. So that would be awesome, and subscribe if you are new for sure. We've been killing it in the month of January. If you want access to all of my picks and all my plays and an awesome Discord community, that's not just all about the picks. It is you get my picks, you get other people's picks, you can share your own picks, but it's also just a community aspect. We're laughing in there half the time, when players aren't playing well, we're sending memes and things like that. It's just a fun community where we're really trying to beat the books, putting our brains together, but it's all all for entertainment and fun at the end of the day. And we've just been killing it in January. 90.8 units in the month of January. Even the best YouTubers that are giving picks out, they're not up, they're up 20 units, 30 units for the entire year. And those are just a few plays. I'm not bashing them for that. But just a 90 unit month, that's not, normal typically. And we don't do this every single month. This is obviously a very good one, but month-to-month basis, we are usually up at the end of the month. So we're not going to win every single day. Don't complain if we don't win every single day, because that's going to happen. We're in a really hot streak right now. I'm sure it will come back down at some point. That's just sports betting. And we've just been killing it. So if you want access to that, definitely check out the links in the description. There's plenty of different ways to get in for free using my code to sign up for PrizePicks, Underdog, Betr, Sleeper, Dabble, Parlay Play, Chalkboard, any of those that you might not have and you want to get access to them. They're going to give you deposit matches when you use my code, and you're going to get that free month in my Discord when you do that. Comment something down below if you do that, because it's not automatic. I have to give you that access when you do that. So check us out. Plenty of different ways for getting for free. The link's in the description. Okay, so now jumping into the last play. This might be my favorite one. This might beat the CJ one. I'm liking now both of these a lot. Tyrese Maxey under 10.5 rebounds and assists. Under in 77% of games. This has no filters on it. He has gone over a few times, and now he's facing Cleveland. This is a 10-point spread. In games they've lost by that much, I assume this goes down 83%. So if this is some sort of blowout, that's an awesome hit rate to see. Has gone over in the last two games, but this is a difficult matchup for a guy like Tyrese Maxey. Why is it a difficult matchup? We'll break that down in a second here. But he has played these guys once this year. Pretty successful last year, but once this year, he had 3 assists. He had 5 potential assists, so not even that many potential assists, and 1 rebound. To the point guard position, this gets a whole lot better, specifically to rebounds. So I don't like his rebounding potential at all tomorrow, but also to assists. Eighth in terms of assists allowed, first in terms of rebounds allowed. And I'm curious to see the games without Joel Embiid. I know he doesn't assist the ball as well. Yeah, 77% hit rate goes to an 80% hit rate without Embiid, so that's another good thing. How many games did he play without Embiid last year? So he did have pretty good success against these guys last year, but it's a different year. They're a better defensive team. Now, there is no Evan Mobley. That is a caveat on this one. So games without Evan Mobley, we don't know how he's played against them, but pretty good sign here that they blew him out last time they played, and he only had 5 potential assists. He had 3 assists, 1 rebound. Didn't even come close to this line. Now let's dive a little bit deeper here. Oops, I didn't go, don't show that again. Tyrese Maxey right here. The Cavs ranked first in rebounds point guard, like we just mentioned. Recently, that's what I want to mention. Recently, how have people played against them without Mobley because he's not in the lineup? Well, the Rockets played them, and not a single player had more than 5 assists. Then the Suns played them, and not a single player had more than 4 assists. That was a blow-up, but no one had more than 4 assists. And then the Timberwolves also played them without Mobley, and no one had more than 5 assists except for Julius Randle, who had 8 or 9 assists, but he's a power forward. He wasn't even a guard. So even without Mobley, I do like the form that they're in terms of not allowing assists, not allowing rebounds specifically to guards. So I love this. I love this matchup for Maxey to go under here. But yeah, loving Maxey. 10.5 rebounds and assists, taking the under. And then for the other game that I didn't really talk about at all, that's the Trailblazers and the Hornets. The Trailblazers are on a back-to-back. I have no idea who's going to play. People could pop up in the injury report. Some guys didn't play yesterday. And then the Hornets side of things, LaMelo and Miles Bridges are game time decisions. So we don't really know who's going to play in that game. I'd be looking probably at Mark Williams, to be totally honest, who just dropped 38 points. And now he's got a decent matchup here against the Blazers, who we don't know their big man rotation. So Mark Williams, in terms of rebounding, in terms of scoring, especially if those other big guys, big name guys, don't play like LaMelo and Miles Bridges. That's definitely a good look. Maybe kind of messing up all my names. Maybe Mark Williams is a look there. And then Nick Smith Jr. If those guys get ruled out, definitely look at Nick Smith. His lines might get too inflated. I probably would play it at 12.5 points, maybe 13.5 points, looking at the over. But he could also dime up the ball a little bit. So points and assists for a guy like Nick Smith Jr. That's only if LaMelo gets ruled out and Miles Bridges. So I think that's going to do it for this one. Again, only a 3-game slate. One of them is a back-to-back / injury-riddled game. The other one's a 12-point spread that I have 4 picks in from, so that could go disastrously wrong. But yeah, the 2 leans, Trey Murphy over 28.5 points and rebounds, Desmond Bane over 19.5 points. But the ones I'm a little bit more confident in, Tyrese Maxey under his 10.5 rebounds assists, really liking that one. CJ McCollum over 23.5 points, and then Ja Morant over 22.5 points. If I had to rank these, I'd probably go CJ and Tyrese at the top, and then Ja slightly below that. But going to call these the main plays of the day, and then the leans would be Trey Murphy and Desmond Bane. So that's going to do it for me. Again, not a crazy slate to go off of, but it is Friday. Happy Friday to everyone. I feel like this week just blew past us, which I'm not complaining about. But Saturday is a huge slate in the NBA, so hopefully we'll find some value there. And then Sunday we got football. So definitely a good weekend for sports. And enjoy it. Have a good one. Good luck with all your bets. Thanks for watching. Leave a video a like, subscribe if you're new, comment something down below, all those good things, and check out the community down below in the description of this video. Step-by-step process. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.